Hello everyone, I'm Tanya Penny, and welcome to the mini lesson on stress and life balance, key number 5 of the Vibrant Body and Abundant Life Blueprint. So in today's mini lesson, I'll be sharing the causes of stress, the things that really cause us to be and feel stressed, plus some simple tips and tools to start shifting into peace and having more life balance today. So I believe that stress is the number one cause and progression of disease and illness, regardless really of what it is, any illness, any disease. And stress is kind of a big term, right? It really is an umbrella for that includes a lot of things. So I want to start with what causes us stress. And I'm going to go through what I considered the three biggies. And I call them the three T's: thoughts, toxins, and traumas. So I do believe, from my experience in working with hundreds of others, that one of the biggest things that causes us stress that we can shift is our thoughts, right? Our thoughts and beliefs. And if you've done any work with me before or have been in my community for a while, I'm sure that you've heard me talk about the three P's. And I'll just briefly go through those today. And they really do cause us a lot of stress. So beliefs and thoughts that have to do with being perfect, perfection, right, is one of the three P's. When we tell ourselves that we have to do it perfectly, we have to do it right, we have to get it right, all those variations, it really causes us a lot of stress. It can cause us to overdo, push ourselves too hard. Physically, right? We beat up on ourselves mentally, and then it causes us to push ourselves too hard physically. The second 3P that has a lot of connection to stress in our thoughts is what I call people pleasing. So thoughts are beliefs that have to do with making other people happy, fixing other people's problems, caretaking, carrying other people, right? Emotionally and or physically, financially. So doing things because we think we have to, or so-and-so will get mad at us, or we won't receive love, etc. People pleasing and those thoughts and beliefs that go with it. Lots of stress, physically, mentally, emotionally. And the third 3P is what I call superwoman syndrome, pretending to be superwoman. Okay, so thoughts and beliefs that cause us to act in superwoman ways is, and again, all these are really connected, right? So you're going to hear some crossovers. So superwoman syndrome, some of the thoughts and beliefs that cause you to fly into that pattern is I have to do it all, I have to do it alone, I can't ask for support, I've got to take care of everybody else, I'm responsible for everyone else. So remember that our thoughts and beliefs, and specifically the ones related to the three P's, cause us to behave or act in certain ways. So yes, the beliefs themselves cause a lot of anxiety, overwhelm, and stress, but then it causes us to act in ways that creates more stress. So let's move into the second T, toxins. Yes, foods obviously can have toxins. There can be environmental toxins, sprays, and all of that sort of stuff. So that definitely falls into this. But I want to talk about a few more toxins that you may not have considered. So if you are staying in a relationship that is unfulfilling, maybe even abusive, that can be toxic, right? That can create that toxic, toxins mentally, physically, emotionally. If you're staying in a job that is unfulfilling, that can be toxic to you and your system. And then we also have emotions. right? So yes, a lot of the thoughts and beliefs we have that I discussed earlier create what I call quote unquote toxic or negative emotions in our system. And if we continue to hold on to those and not release them, a lot of us stuff our emotions anger, sadness, guilt, shame, fear, fill in the blank, right? If we hold on to those emotions, we don't feel and release them, and we live in them every day, whether we know it or not consciously, they can create quote unquote toxins and stress, right, to our system. And the third T is trauma. So whether you had a recent trauma or something that happened 30 or even 50 years ago, if you haven't fully addressed that, meaning the emotions and the thoughts and beliefs, again, that were created given the trauma that happened, it could still be wreaking havoc and creating stress in your system, right? So a trauma could be an accident, it could be maybe abuse, it could be being made fun of at school, even though it happened so long ago, right? A lot of us are like, yeah, but that happened so long ago and I was so over that. That could still be creating stress in your system if it isn't fully resolved, okay? Isn't fully healed. So in a nutshell, those are the things that cause us quote unquote stress, mentally, physically, and emotionally. And we know they're all related, right? They're all connected. So what do we do with this? Right? What do we do with all this? Again, we can't change anything that we're not aware of, right? We can't change anything we're not aware of. So one of the tips, moving into tips and tools, one of the things I'm going to recommend to start with is just reflect and ask yourself, perhaps even write, of what was mentioned earlier in this lesson, what resonates with me? What might be an underlying causes to the stress that I seem to be experiencing physically, mentally, and or emotionally? Okay, is it my thoughts related to the 3 Ps, and if so, which ones? And take a few minutes to maybe write about it. Write them down. Right? Do I have past trauma? What toxins do I have in my life that, that Tanya mentioned? Is my job toxic to me, perhaps? Are there people in my life that are, putting me down, or just really negative energy, or, toxic people? You know what I mean. You feel drained when you walk away from any interaction with them. And they might be, overtly abusive, verbally, physically, or it could be real subtle, controlling, manipulation, just really negative, etc. Traumas, toxins, thoughts, and beliefs. Okay, so just take a few moments to reflect on that, even write on it, and with compassion and curiosity, right? You're not beating yourself up, you're not making yourself wrong. That awareness and acceptance is huge to changing anything, including stress. Okay. Now, all of the things I mentioned that cause us stress also cause us to fall, quote unquote, out of balance. And when I talk about balance, I'm talking about work, rest, and play, right? That overall balance in our life of work, rest, and play. Me time versus we time. So you might also reflect on which of the things that I mentioned are causing me to fall out of balance, right? And where am I out of balance? Am I working too much because of, the thoughts and beliefs, the 3P thoughts and beliefs, the superwoman, the people pleasing? Am I working too much? That's typically what people are out of balance in, is too much work. And when I say work, I'm not just talking about your job. I'm talking about everything outside of your job as well. Taking care of the family, chores, friends, volunteering, quote unquote work. Anything that is considered doing. Anything that usually takes away from you having enough rest, healing time. I'm not just talking about sleep. I'm talking about restful healing activities, and play, things that you are passionate about, that you enjoy, that light you up. Okay, so where are you out of balance there? Are you, do you have just solely work, not enough rest and play? A lot of my clients have enough play. What they're really lacking in is rest. Okay, and again, not just sleep, like downtime, space. And then me time versus we time. Okay, a lot of people don't have enough time alone. We have to have that balance too in order to be, in full balance. And by the way, you guys, balance is not something you acquire one time and then it just stays that way forever. I've realized and noticed over, gosh, the course of my healing of MS and weight and anxiety, all of that, that balance is constantly shifting and changing in my life. What I need one day may be different what I need the next day in terms of balance. Okay? So once you've done that reflection, one of the other things you may want to do every morning, and I do recommend you take some time every morning to connect with yourself, your something bigger, whatever you call it, some me time, some alone time, even if it's 5 minutes. If you can squeeze in 10 to 20, that's optimal. But even starting with 5 minutes and just simply asking yourself, what do I really need today to be in balance? To have less, to feel less stress, to be less stressed, and to have more balance and a sense of peace in my life. Do I need to let go of some things today? Do I need to adjust my schedule? Do I need to ask for more support? Right? So what does that look like today for me? What do I need to feel more balanced and be less stressed? Okay. So that's a little reflection question, a daily reflection is what I call it, question to ask yourself each morning. Okay, and it's going to be different every day, and that might mean, like, some days I wake up and my answer is, my guidance says you need to have more space in your schedule, do less work. Maybe you need to move some clients, you need to move a project. Really giving myself permission to do that, letting go of the perfection, right? Like I said I was going to do it, so I have to do it. Or I'm a failure if I don't do it. Those kind of things that keep us stuck and create stress. I recommend to schedule most everyone's going to need more space and downtime in your schedule for rest and play. So really taking an honest look at your schedule and carving out time for rest and play every day. And I know a lot of you super women, super men out there are like, yeah, but I got so much to do, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of have-tos and shoulds that are causing us to be stressed and overly busy in doing, and they're just not true. So really taking an honest look at those. Who says? Who says I have to do this? Who says I should do this? Right? So really looking at that and calling bullshit on the stuff that just isn't true for you anymore. One of the other things I use, and I've used it, almost 9 years every day now, is a guided therapeutic meditation practice. I recommend that to use it midday and or after work. Both if you feel like a lot of stress and you have a lot of illness or symptoms right now, and then again at bedtime. And you guys in my community have a sample guided practice. Those of you who are in a program working with me, you've got tons of practices to choose from. But what I have found is that releasing stress midday, mentally, physically, and emotionally, stopping, pausing, taking that downtime is really important. So I carve out time midday every day to lie or sit down and do a 15 to 30 minute guided practice. Sometimes I fall asleep, sometimes I don't, it doesn't matter. I usually feel a couple levels better, if that makes sense. On a scale of 1 to 10, I usually feel more relaxed, more peaceful, more rested. And remember that these guided practices also help you shift those thoughts and beliefs we were talking about earlier, right, that are related to the three P's that cause us to overdo, um, get into perfection stuff, and get stuck in the people pleasing hamster wheel. So they also help you release any quote unquote toxic emotions you've been holding on to. They can also help you to heal past traumas over time. Okay, so, and they really just help you connect with yourself and get guidance as well, and you're something bigger. So they do a lot for you. So carving out time midday and or after work is really going to help you feel less stressed. It's going to decrease your symptoms and just overall feel more balanced. And then again, using it at bedtime as you fall asleep is going to help you release stress as you sleep at night. So a lot of us don't sleep well, and that is not, I mean, of course, it's obvious problem. You wake up feeling tired, and then you can't, go about your day and do your quote unquote best. But stress is supposed to be released from our mentally, physically, emotionally from us as we sleep at night. So if you're not sleeping good, these practices will help you to sleep better as well. So there's your mini lesson. Key number 5, stress less and life balance. And go ahead and get started on those tips and tools in a really easygoing, gentle way. And if you would like more support from me to stress less, create more life balance, and heal, you can find out ways to do that below. And if you have an autoimmune disorder, please join me for the healing workshop this month, Healing Autoimmune Attacks. And you can also sign up below for that. So sending you love, courage, and wisdom, and just a lot of courage to keep walking your healing path. Progress, not perfection. And just know that healing takes time, patience, and a lot of self acceptance and love.